All right. Um, I guess because I plan on. Oh, that's okay. I plan on uploading this eventually to YouTube, so everybody can hear my dulcet tones. That sounds like I have a empty bag of what do you want to call it? Oh, what is that? Empty bag chip. Ooh, that's kind of ooh, nice in my throat. But hello, everybody. So today I wanted to do something different, and I'm trying this out. I pretty much want to go find a village. And I just find it on the. Oh yeah, look at that! Found it on the. Found the city. All right, this is not what I wanted to find, but hey, we found this. Good for us. Right near spawn too. Um, anyway, I wanted to find a village, and most of the time, villages need serious help. There's buildings that are way too high or stuff that's way too low, and villagers are trapped. And I just want to, give it like an extreme makeover. How extreme? I don't know. I, um, but like as you can see, I'm just in creative mode. This is just to be relaxing. I'm not trying here. I just want to build and have fun, pretty much. So, now I am just curious. So, I'm just going to. A little curious here. I will say it does. Okay, nothing really around here besides the city. All right, I will say it is. It does really. I don't. I guess the word is annoy. It does annoy me that I am very limited on what I can do right now when it comes to my abilities to stream. Um, which is funny because I'm using a laptop right now. Yeah, I'm using a laptop right now. And I got it a few years back. I think it's maybe like 4. It's like 4 years old. I got it for COVID. Um, and it was originally supposed to be for like when I went to visit my mom's, and just something for me to have. But it kind of just sat there for a while because I didn't need it. I had my computer, and then that computer started getting old. Look, a goat. Um, Now I don't want to say it wouldn't. It might not be the very first village we find, but it's gonna be a village. So I want to say sometime last was it last June? No, it was before. Had to be 2 years ago, I think. Um, I had some extra money, and I got myself a really nice computer. Like, not to like brag, but it was like over 6,000. I got all new stuff, new monitors. Like, it was like my first time really kind of going all out, and I found a computer with amazing reviews. It was a gaming PC. The only issue with it was the fan was just super loud. So, I planned on eventually replacing that fan. Oh, this is kind of cute. Replacing that fan, getting a new fan, and upgrading the RAM. However, I wasn't able to do that because how it worked was, huh, I had my computer, like the desk. Oh, well, okay, let's see. I had my desk, and the computer was on the floor next to it. It was like raised a little bit so it wouldn't overheat, but it was on the floor. And in my infinite wisdom, I had a soda right there, and the thing, I knocked it over, and it spilled on the PC that has a completely open grate on the top of it. And this was probably like 2 months after I got it. Um, at the time, it was me, my significant other, and our roommate, and it was one of those things where in the moment, everybody who's doing something different just snapped into a cohesive, let's jump into action. Huh. You, that's interesting. Okay. Um, I don't. I like this village, but I don't feel like it's in need enough for a makeover. I mean, it's a little weird. Where? Okay, that's the position. Um. Okay. I'm gonna keep on going. Sorry, guys. We turned off the computer immediately. We dried it as best as we could. Hung it upside down. Oh wow, there's another one right here. I hung it upside down. Not like hung it, but we took so like anything could just drip out, and we left it alone for like 3 days. Ooh, this one looks, uh, this one looks like a disaster, kind of. Uh, I kind of like this one a little bit better. Huh. I might. Wait, I'm just gonna look around the surrounding areas and I'll come back to this one. Because I think this one might be it. So we all, like I said, we all jumped into action. We all did that. Um, Once we were like, okay, it's probably enough time. Let's give it a shot. So I turned it on. It turned on and everything. Uh, and it worked until you started to actually run something. And I mean, like, something heavy. Like, I could be on the internet for a little bit. I could watch some YouTube. But if, like, I started up any game, you could run it for maybe, like, 5 minutes, and it would just turn off. And then you would kind of have to wait a while, and then you could do that again. So we're like, okay, it still works. There's still something there. Um, Hopefully that means we cleaned it enough to avoid any mass damage. Uh, So, for some reason, on one of the times, I decided, oh, I'm just going back to that village, we're doing that one. I decided that I am going to try to update that system because it needed an update. Okay. There we go. All done. Okay. I do not know why I did this, but I did it. The thing crashed, and it just would not turn back on. And, you know, I'm kind of like, well, crap, I really just blew it here. I don't understand why this is like this. I'm gonna have to just get rid of all of that, really. So, and then eventually, because of like just issues and money and just time, we did try to bring it to Geek Squad, but it's like, because there was nothing really around us at the time for computer repair, but it's like as soon as they heard like soda got spilled on it, even if we tried to explain to them it still works, it's like they just wouldn't want to touch it, and they kind of just blew us off. So for the longest time, I've just been using my laptop, which I'm using right now. My laptop, you know, it was like, it was pretty expensive for it's a gaming laptop. But the main issue for it is just the RAM is really bad. And technically I should be able to run stuff a lot better with even with the limited RAM I have, but it's just not doing it. And I've looked into it. I don't know what's taking up the RAM because I looked it up. Like the other day I tried to play SimCity Societies, which is like a game from 2005. It takes less than a gigabyte of RAM, and if you have it on max setting, it takes a little more than a gigabyte. OBS, which I have, takes about 4. So I should still have about like 4, close to 5 gigabytes left of a RAM to play with and just keep the computer all situated and nice. But it was choking my system really bad. Today I wanted to go on a little bit early, and originally I went on, because I have both Java and Bedrock. I went on Java because, you know, I have like my custom like King Asterisk in there, and it's just, you know, people like Java better. But there was pretty bad lag that wouldn't go away even if I... Okay there, buddy. Even if I turned everything down, like all the graphics and stuff. So right now we're just on Bedrock. I know it's not everybody's favorite, but you know, like, what do you want me to do about that? We're on Bedrock. And and it's running relatively okay. But right now, I have to figure out when I can, because I am now, like before, I'm closer to a lot more ish stuff in places where I can get the computer fixed. We think, because I tried turning it on the other day, and it turned on and it stayed on, but I couldn't get a video, and we think like the component, like whatever you plug it into, like the HDMI cables, they might just be shot. So what we're gonna do is we're going to take the computer to an actual repair place. Hopefully they won't laugh in our face, and we're gonna be like, hey, if everything is shot and it's better for us just to buy a new one, can, using us, me, whatever, whoever, I'm included in both things. We're going to ask them just to see like what can be saved, what parts, like can like the RAM be saved, or like whatever, and then we're going to get a new computer, and then hopefully it'll be compatible and we can just add that to it. Oh wow, sir, did you know you had this in your backyard? Wow, look at this place. Oh, that's pretty. This is something. Okay. I don't know where I went. Right, I might have to. I might have an idea for this. This is huge. I'm sorry. I'm getting distracted here. Wow. A mine shaft. This is cool. All right. Anyway. Where to go? I have no idea. I think somewhere over. Now I'll just break a new way out. Aha. Alright. But we're ultimately hoping that it's just a few different compartments and like stuff where we can get everything fixed, get a new fan, a replacement fan and a new fan added, and then upgrade the RAM, and then I can start using that again, because I have so many games that I would love to play on Twitch and on YouTube. But right now, especially with OBS, my system cannot handle it. And also, I am running out of space. And it's like, it's getting to the point where I just don't have the ability to get rid of stuff. Because, you know, I have like, right now the only game I have besides Minecraft is Sims 4. And yes, that takes up a lot of space, but I mean, like, I play it every day almost, so it's kind of, well, okay, I have Sims 4 and I have like a emulator for mobile games. Like I play, if you heard the game Merge Dragons, I play that on here because it's so much better than, I have to destroy the tree, sorry tree. It's so much better than actually on mobile, if you ask me. But that's not that much. I also have, how much do I have? I know I have like 4,600 songs Which we can get into that topic. I don't use Spotify. I don't care for Spotify. Um, Never have. I just don't like it. Not to say that it's bad. Like, I have an account, but it's just too... Like, I have a few people who are like, I watch, or like they have like, Spotify accounts, and they're like, they just have like music on there. And I like to like go on there sometimes just to see what kind of music they like to add to my list. But what I do is I have a folder filled with songs that I got over the years. And I have a very particular way of how I do my music. So, let's say I have an artist. I'll give, for example, like the first two you would see on my thing would be Amy Winehouse and Ariana Grande. I have multiple of their albums. I have all of Amy Winehouse's albums. So because of that, they have their own, like, their name is right there. They're on the thing as artist and everything, and they're right there. Other ones is technically Glee. I have every single song of Glee's on my phone and iTunes. I use iTunes. Come on, there we go. I even have there's some songs where like Rachel and Kurt sang "Defying Gravity." They released the duet, and then they also have like solo versions. So I have all those things, and I even have I forget who originally sang it, but they sang "Fashion." I think it's David Bowie. They sang "Fashion" for New York's Fashion Night Out years ago, and it's not that good quality, but I have it, and it's really good. I think a year or two later, Dan and Chris sang "Dress You Up" by Madonna for the same thing, but they never released it as a single. And in that commercial, there's people talking over his voice, and Jesus. And I think that's probably one of his best performances. It's so good, and it's so criminal that it's underneath all this stuff. Like, stop talking. Let me just hear him sing. But anyway, like, I think I have like 720 plus Glee songs. So Glee has its own section in the in my music library. What else do I have? I have all the Harry Potter soundtracks, obviously. I have most of the Kingdom Hearts soundtracks. I don't have 3 or Remind yet. And a part of me wants to go into those and kind of edit stuff, because a lot of the songs are in multiple games, and there's such a slight difference. To me, it just doesn't matter. So like, you have like Olympus Coliseum in like 5 different games, and there's a little bit of a difference, but it's not enough to warrant having it again and again. So eventually I'm going to go through that. Let me see, what else? so two albums slash artists that kind of break the rules that I have is I have the entire Persona, Persona 5 and Persona 5 Royal, I think, and Strikers, I think, the one with whatever her name, Sophia. I have all that music, and then I have all of this music from Silent Hill 1, 1 to 4, Downpour, and I think Shattered Memories. So, like, I have all that music. And I also have, all, like, I think 99%, 90%, let's say 95% of music from the original Sims, the radio stations. I also have all the music from Herbs, which eventually I would love to play on stream. That is my favorite Sims game. If the Sims team is listening, please remake that. Don't, dim it down. That game was... I don't know how that game came out with just a T rating. It should have been M rating, honestly. It was, but it's so good. Okay, so we have that. I should probably think about what I'm doing here. Whatever. The next music. So I have two separate, I guess we're going to call them, like, compilation. How do I say this? So let's go to anime. I enjoy anime, but I am very picky when it comes to anime music. So what I do, and this is, I also do this with Disney music. I have Disney also. Why not? But so I have an artist in my iTunes on my phone labeled anime and cartoons, and then the albums inside are labeled as its respective show. So I want to say, no, that's not true, actually. I was going to say my most two would be One Piece and Naruto. I have a few songs from Naruto. I hate to admit it, but I have like the Bluebird opening. I also have a AI cover of Freddie Mercury singing that song, and I know it's horrible, but it's good. I can't deny it, and it's just it's just for my ears. I'm not forcing people to listen to it. One Piece, I have most of their openings, which by the way, my all-time favorite opening in anime at all is the 25th One Piece opening, The Peak. I think that's just it is a masterpiece. And the 26th, I think it's Asu or like Us. That's probably like a close second. But anyway. Let me see here. So under over. Okay, I think I know what I'm doing here. So all those things. I also have the anime with the most, I guess, anime slash visual novel is Clannad, which I recently discovered a live, like, concert video of, like, I don't know who the singer's name, but she's singing like Dango. Like, it just made me fall in love with that song again. It's such a good song. I also have, I know people don't like it, but Steven Universe, it has good songs. I will say I was very disappointed with how it ended up. Um, like this, there was so much build up, and it just really was disappointing. But I have a lot of their songs. My favorite is one of my favorites, and it's from Steven Universe Future, so people don't even notice it. Is I think it's called like I'm Looking Forward, and Sadie sings it. So if you ever want to just check something out, that. And then I have Elfin Lied. I have like 5 different versions of Lilium. I think that's how you say it. Elfin Lied. One of like the first animes I watched when I like knew what anime was. Because when you're like 4 watching 4 Kids, you're not exactly sure what this is. Is that it? And then I just have like a compilation of like different music from anime, like openings and stuff. In that one, I have I don't know if they use it again. The original opening of Higurashi. Also, I apologize if I butcher any of these names. I'm going to. The opening of Higurashi, of the opening to, I think I have 2 openings. No. I have 1 opening of Brotherhood. I have 2 endings of Brotherhood. The endings are the ones where, like, they're drawing Edward, and they look like, just like drawings during the ending. And then the other one is during probably like one of the best scenes in anime history, when Ed is escaping from whatever that place is called, and he sees like Alphonse's body, and he promises to bring him back. And then like the music starts playing. That's, oh my god, that's so good. Evangelion, I have that opening. I have. I don't know if it is the actual opening of Yu-Gi-Oh! In Japan, or it's the Season 0 opening of Yu-Gi-Oh! In Japan. But I have that. And then I have one ending from, I forget what I think it's called All at Once by Dice from Conan. And that's probably my favorite ending. And that's probably my favorite ending of any anime. It is so good. So those are my those are the animes and cartoons I have. I did the same thing with Disney, like I said before. I have a few just full-on Disney albums. Lion King, Lion King 2, Beauty and the Beast, what else? Pocahontas. I don't care what anybody says. Pocahontas is one of my favorite movies. Yeah, sure, it's historically very inaccurate, but it's still a good movie. Oh, I also have Mulan. But to get just a small, very, very small tangent. Pocahontas is the only Disney princess movie that has a legitimately, like, sad ending. Because, I mean, let's pretend, like, yes, the sequel is more accurate historically, but that doesn't make it better. So let's pretend that's not, that doesn't exist. In the end, like, she finds John Smith. They fall in love. Good for them. They're both of age in the movie, so, let's... Good for that. And then he just gets shot, and then, like, it's like the last she has to say goodbye to him, or he's going to die there. And, there's no real happy ending in that movie. And just, go back and just listen to that soundtrack. It is, like, because people don't like that movie for, reasons. So it's like people don't realize just how beautiful that soundtrack really is. And it is, it's good. So, tangent over. And then, like, anime, I also have just different songs from different things. I also have the entire album of Muppet Christmas Carol there. That's my favorite Christmas movie. Give me a second. So after that, if I remember correctly, would be just, Christmas, which I just have that all year round. I don't, like, if it's there, it's there. It doesn't bother me. And sometimes I want to listen to the Carpenters sing Christmas songs, but I have like 200 Christmas songs, and I tried really hard to just get stuff that isn't played all the time and is, just a bit different. I'm getting so distracted. But look at this place. Wow. I'm getting, so, like, it's just a lot of different stuff you wouldn't hear. And when I worked at the pizza place I worked at, which I guess I still technically worked at. I can go back anytime. They would, I was allowed to play my music since I had such a diverse music that, people from in their 80s could go in there and enjoy music just as much as somebody, a Gen Z or Gen Alpha. So yeah, going back a letter, I have. Well, first let me find grass. There we go. Okay. One of my favorite games, and something I would love to play eventually on here, is Bioshock Infinite. I first saw, it was like the first month or two. I was spending time with my significant other when we met. They played. It was right when Bioshock came out. They played it, but then they had they had to go to work. I was with them, so I didn't have to go to work. They still did. And I ended up just playing it because I was bored. And I played that game, Bioshock Infinite, like 8 times in a row. I absolutely loved it. I wanted to learn every single thing I could about the lore, the game, everything. And eventually it got to the point where I knew where all the music was. And I slowly started just grabbing all the music. And if it was like old-timey music, I would find it. I was just, I was just very meticulous. And eventually I was like, well, if I have all this music and I know where it goes, why don't I just do something with this? So I booted up the old trusty Windows Movie Maker, and I made a video of the entire song library of BioShock in chronological order of when it happened in the game. And then eventually I added Burial@Sea 1 and 2 to that as well. And I uploaded that to YouTube. I think it came out to like 12 hours long. And this was like, I even had like this ambient noise, background stuff. It was as whatever I could find, I put in there. Which, if you want a recommendation, After You've Gone is probably the best song there with lyrics. And then like the best instrumental is Elizabeth. But I put it up there. And well, there's two versions. One without Burial@Sea and one with. And my crowning achievement was Ken Levine himself tweeted the video, the original, not the Burial@Sea. And like to this day, it's my like proudest moment. Hopefully, if you want to find it, it's pretty easily found. I find it is blocked in some countries. I have been very, very, very blessed that I haven't gotten any, like, I'm jinxing myself here, copyright strikes. I just get like the thing less than a strike, but it's like I never tried to, that's why. But I've never tried to actually get money from any of this. I just, pure entertainment and joy for people. There we go. So that, we went to Christmas, D, Disney, E, nothing E. So, okay, so F. F is very interesting in my music library. I have something called fragments. And what fragments is, I have 4 different categories. I have fragments, like defragment, shadow fragments, something else. These are all artists where I have a few songs of theirs, but I don't want to put them in my other compilation because there's too many of them. However, there's not enough of their songs to warrant their own like place in my, like, you get your own standalone artist representation in my list. Hopefully I'm explaining this well. What color should I go for here? Maybe, I think dark oak would look nice. It's being a little slow. Okay, so for example, I have, let me just bring it up on my phone here. Oh, sorry about this. I also have like 400 songs of city pop on my phone, just in like a huge compilation, like 2 compilation albums. City pop is just magical in every single way. So yeah. I think that's just, I think that's good enough. Okay. So, okay. Oop, nope. So, the lowest one is called fragments, and it has like a little like D. So like, I can have all of, actually, I'm gonna do this. or like Defragments. Those are all artists who I have at least 3 songs of. And that includes, and also I can always get more. This is just what I have right now. Barbra Streisand, Barry Manilow, Bee Gees, Billy Joel, Birds, Carly Simon, Chappell Roan, Chic, Christopher Cross, and just, so on and so on. Next one is Fragment Shattered, which is for, artists will have 4 songs or more. And like I said before, it's just like the album name is the artist. So there I have Adele, Aretha Franklin, I Cheated and I put Backstreet Boys and NSYNC together, Bruno Mars, David Bowie, Chicago, Donna Summer, Joan Baez, Judy Garland, Megan Thee Stallion. I have those in the same exact place. Kind of funny. Then I have Fragments itself, where it's anywhere from 5 to 9 songs. I have Black Eyed Peas / Fergie, Bob Marley, Boney M, Britney Spears, Cher, Michael Jackson, which I need to get more songs from him. I just keep on forgetting. Hall & Oates. If you like metal, I think they're from Sweden. I should probably know this better. The band Heavy Saurus is so good, and it's like a metal band for kids, but their music is just, it's good. It's really good. Marvin Gaye, just a bunch of people. And then the last one is called Fragment Super. And these are, I could probably make some of these their own feature things on my phone, but I just don't. These are everybody who has 10 plus albums or songs on my phone. And those include ABBA, Blondie, Carpenters, which, by the way, I think Karen Carpenter has one of the best singing voices of all time. When people talk about, like Mariah Carey and Whitney Houston and all those, I think Karen Carpenter should be right there with them. I don't understand why people sleep on her so much. Listen to We've Only Just Begun, or what was that song? Or listen to Superstar, and just tell me you're not amazed. Doja Cat, love me some Doja Cat. Have her there, just a bunch of others. So after that, Dua Lipa, Etta Jones, Fleetwood Mac, Lady Gaga, I have so Melanie Martinez in my thing. She has her own section of artists. I don't know if I want to keep it like that, because Portals was okay. I like a few of their songs, but it's just with her, I have songs from all of her albums, and no, I have all of K through 12, but I'll probably put her eventually into the Fragment Super. No offense to her, I like her. I don't necessarily believe, or I haven't heard enough to weigh my opinion on those allegations yet, but I don't know. I think Bakery's a fun song. So there's that. is... Okay, so next is something I call Removement. And I've had it like that, the artist name. I've called it that since I was like in high school. And this was my very first compilation section. It went through many changes throughout the years. Now it's just pretty much almost by decades. I have oldies. It goes oldies, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, Y2K, and 2010s. And then I have country music, instrumental, and I do have R&B, but that's eventually I'm just gonna move that to it's like those songs into the respective decades, because I have a lot of R&B in my like music library, but I'm just not, I guess, smart enough to know what exactly should go there. Like I know some songs definitely, like what do I have in there? Um, Smooth Operator, You Might Need Somebody, Angel of Mine. I think. Oh, I just realized I'm missing a song. Unbreak My Heart. No, actually, no, that moved. I think, yeah. But that's what Removement is. Just compilations of like, for the most part, songs by decade. I also have music from here that's just from TV and movies. Always Look on the Bright Side of Life. Bury Me. I have a few songs from American Horror Story here, which I really want to go on to another tangent. No one's here. Whatever, I'm doing it. Like with American Horror Story, it depends on what you like, because each season's different, and we all have our, what do you want to call it? Just what we enjoy, and our preferences. For the longest time, my favorite season was Roanoke. I thought it was brilliant. It was like an edge of my seat, just fun. It's so gory. Has like by far the goriest and like most messed up deaths in the entire like show's history. How am I going to do this? And it was that I want to say, like, I started watching it during Freak Show because all the promos really got me thinking here. I didn't care for Cult, so I watched I watched 4, 5, 6, 7, and then 8. And then like during like the off seasons, I went back and watched 1, 2, 3. I didn't care for Cult. I didn't really care for Hotel that much. Freak Show, it was. I mean, it's okay. It has a special place in my heart because it's my first thing. I have from that. I have when Evan Peters sang "Come as You Are," and I have Jessica Lange singing "Gods and Monsters." I am one of the small majority who think I like Apocalypse. The 8th episode was totally unneeded. That was garbage. I'll say that. But it's a good. I think it's overall good. Also, I think one of my favorite characters is Madison. I think she has a pretty good redemption. and it kind of pissed me off that they still. I'm sure everything went back to normal, but like small spoilers. Who cares? It's been we're on season 13 now. If you haven't seen it yet, that's your fault. Um, Madison knew, Madison was trying to. Madison? Oh, what's her name? Um, Mallory. Mallory. She was trying to better herself. So the ending kind of did annoy me a tiny bit. I didn't watch season 9, but I saw clips about it, so I know the story enough where I'm not totally lost. Season 10 was season 10, and at first I wasn't going to watch season 11, but I had Hulu for something else, and I was home from work and I had nothing to do, and I just decided to watch the first 2 episodes of New York. It was New York City, season 11, and I kind of just got interested. And then I watched each episode as it went on, and to me, like everybody else, it felt very different, and I wasn't sure how to explain it. It felt, it, I don't know, it felt more like a crime, like American crime story, or like American, like CSI, you know, American CSI story. Um, Something special that Ryan Murphy can do that no other directors can do, to me, is make me just bawl like a baby. It happened a few times during Glee, especially during this. This wasn't really. It was just circumstance. I know he never planned this to happen. With the quarterback episode, I dare anybody to go through that without like sobbing. But I got to the final 2 episodes of New York City American Horror Story, and my significant other was in the room. And normally, like when I'm watching it, they're at work, but it was there. I wanted to watch it. And you know, uh, and that those last 2 episodes, one just completely broke me. Um, Probably one of my favorite scenes in TV history is, and it's gonna be spoilers here. Um, is near the end, and I've already been crying. It's even the there's no to me there's no main villain in like person villain. Everybody in this season has some point of like villainous behavior. The only true hero is Adam. Um, and it's like we first see, oh my goodness, what's his name? Um, oh, give me a second. That's gonna annoy me. Oh, Sam. Sam. We see Sam going through the hospital with Theo, and he's showing you the patients with who are like alone, and like they're dying of HIV, and you think, Sam, with how he was the entire show, he would just like show no sympathy, or but it's very clear that he's completely terrified, and he's like scared for himself and these people. Um, and I think there was a great thing of showing, you want to be happy that Sam is getting his just desserts, But they're like, no, because if it was just him dealing with this, then it would be fine. But there's so many innocents dealing with HIV and AIDS, and it just doesn't sit right. Yeah, people are going to use this and just fall to their death. Okay. There we go. And then you go to the next part where it's Gino visiting, Patrick. Patrick has his little vision, and then it goes into, like I said, it's very cheesy if you think about it. But come on, there we go. Like, Patrick is dying. You have Patti LuPone singing, like calling you, and then you have Patrick's ex-wife, I forget her name, in a wedding dress right there, and then you have Big Daddy at the door, and it doesn't seem like that should be anything, but just the music and how it's sang and everything about that, like how it's shot, it was it's that scene alone brought this season of it shot it straight up to number one for me. It is my favorite season just because of that scene. And then the next episode was all about Patrick and eventually Gino. And by that point, I was just so exhausted that I couldn't really just cry anymore. And I think I saw in one review, somebody said that usually like the ending to American Horror Story leaves you some kind of way. But it was like, this just left me with a sense of emptiness and just nothing. And that's the perfect way to describe it. There is no happy ending to this season. And it's so good. And I know I shouldn't, but I guess it's just, nature. I get so, what's it called? I get so insulted. Like, it's my own show when people say it's garbage. I'm like, how dare you say that? But, I can't, that's how I feel. I will say, I do feel like people get Big Daddy wrong a little bit, where they assume yes, he is AIDS, but, back in those days, LGBT were really, like, I guess, I don't want to say, a goal would be to go to the city to escape. And they all saw, like, New York City or, like, the big city, wherever you wanted to go, as an escape, as paradise. Big Daddy was the darkness in that paradise. So that's why we saw him, like, he was the one who burned down the gay bar, and he was always the person causing that stuff. He wasn't just AIDS. He was, like, just the hate crimes and all that stuff. So, the more you know. Also, something I did not realize, just because of the timeline in that show, for the most part, all of that takes place in, like, early 80s. Like, I thought it was, like, mid to late 80s, because, that's when, like, HIV really hit. But no, it's, like, Patrick and, Hannah, yeah. They, like, die in, like, 1980, 1981. So I was like, oh, okay. I didn't realize that. So, just... about that. But going back to music and hopefully something a little more fun to talk about. In TV and movies, like I said, I have I have a song called "In Your Eyes," which I think it was 1993, sung by the 1993 winner of Eurovision. That's just like, it's a good ballad song. Que Sera Sera. Um, Wishing for a Sail. The opening theme to Caitlin's Way I have on there. That was that's the kind of I feel like that's the kind of show Nickelodeon needs to kind of start bringing back, because that, it's just, I don't know, whatever. I also have like I have some old songs from, like, I guess these could have been part into like my cartoon section. Um, I have Shortening Bread from some kind of cartoon, and I have songs from something called the Censored 11. Now, for those who don't know, the Censored 11 is a group of 11 shorts from, was it all like Looney Tunes? I don't know if it was all like Looney Tunes or Merry Melodies. I think it was Merry Melodies, way back in the day. And they were banned for really, like, over the top racist stereotypes, which, it's one of the things where it was just it was a part of the time. I'm one of those firm believers that's like, if you try to erase it, it's not helping anybody. But let's also not glorify it. That being said, also, I've seen them. I watched them all. They're okay. The main selling point, and the main selling point with a lot of Mary Melody stuff, is the music. Uh, the music for, like, let's go to there's one called Sunday Go to Meeting Time. I think it's like the second song, because it starts out with a like I think the pastor's just singing, like, it sounds like a hymn. He has like a really like I guess, I don't want to say comically deep voice, but it's definitely like, like he has some bass. And then it goes to this song where I'm not gonna sing it because I'll just butcher it, but it's like, it's a guy, and I think his wife or girlfriend end up walking to church, and it is such an earworm. And that's the thing with all of these songs, they are such earworms, and they are so good, and you listen to them, and it's like, how can you be a part of something so bad? And like I said, it's like, I had music I play in public, at my work. I have music just for me. That is just for me music. I don't expect people to listen to it. I don't, they don't have to. It's whatever. But I do have some songs from the Censored 11. And I find that era of cartoons so fascinating, of like what just was allowed at the time, and how much different it is today. Like, I have this it's like a 6-disc collection of Looney Tunes called, I think it's Looney Tunes The Golden Collection. And starting on the 3rd disc, I think, like, Whoopi Goldberg comes on, and she's like, hey, I want, these are products of their time, and we haven't edited them whatsoever. But we just want to let you guys know. We're not going to erase this. This is what it was. So just be warned. And it does show all the stuff. It shows, if like a character, if there's a cartoon where a character goes into blackface, it shows them in blackface. Um, I just noticed there's two different. Okay. And like you see it, and then you kind of like realize how different, and like because they sometimes air Looney Tunes on like Cartoon Network or Boomerang. Oh goodness. And you watch like something there, and then you watch it on this collection, and you see the full version of it, and sometimes it's very small, and other times it's like oh, they really had to cut out a lot here. One of the ones is something that's really I hope I'm saying all this stuff right, because I don't want to be have egg on my face here. One of the big ones is I think the cartoon is called September in the Rain, and it takes place in a convenience food store at night, and there's at one point there is something that dresses up as Al Jolson, and he sings September in the Rain. And if you don't know who Al Jolson is he's probably the most famous minstrel actor. He was if you ever think of if somebody doing minstrel shows in blackface, he was the go-to person. And I read about him before, because I was just what was he like? And again, I haven't really researched in a while. I could be wrong here. But like I said, no one's really here listening to me anyway. From what I understand was he would make it so that all the characters he played, he played the the black character in his shows. He would always make it so that his character would be the hero, and the white actors playing the white characters would kind of be the bumbling idiots. And it was kind of his nod, or being kind of his way of kind of fighting that stigma, and using something that is was used as a platform for ridicule, and turning it upside down. I read somewhere, because internet is very. You can always trust the internet. That he was welcomed in the jazz clubs in Harlem, and despite what he did, he was very he wasn't about that lifestyle. He was, I guess you could say a man working from the inside. I guess that's the best way to describe it. But yeah, but just all that stuff always fascinated me, just the propaganda cartoon from World War II, and just how in today's world that stuff would, we would still see that stuff today if there wasn't internet. It's fascinating to me, what memes and what just stuff they would go for. Oh my goodness, come on. Back on. Okay, let's go to let's keep going on music because that should be a nice topic. Oh, damn it. After TV and movies, the only thing I guess I have The Sims, and then I have video games, which has Dragon Age Inquisition, Morinatsu, which is an old furry visual novel, which I kind of came to realize it's not. It's that it has a lot of rose-colored glasses on. It's not as good as people remember it. It has it's a product of its time. I'll say that. And I think that's all my music that I have. Um, I have it all. I have like a playlist saved on YouTube, just so I remember it. I have songs from Tony Hawk. Right now it's 1, 2, 3, and American Wasteland, and I have to go through the other soundtracks to find music I want from them, and eventually I'll get those songs, and I'll add them. But for right now, that is what I have. So since we were on the topic of TV shows, let's talk about TV shows. I grew up in a time, well, I grew up where I kind of had to be a little careful of what I watched. I grew up in a Christian household. My parents were semi okay with stuff. Like I think I talked about yesterday with like the whole thing with Scrubs and just So a lot of the stuff I grew up with was like sitcoms, and like Full House, Family Matters, Step by Step, Who's the Boss. These days, my opinion has changed on a lot of those shows. I don't care for Full House anymore that much. I used to be like a big like DJ and like Stephanie fan. Now I find it's one of the things where like sometimes you can separate the like the character from the real person and vice versa. Um, Candace can't remember, like she needs to get off a high horse, I think. Um, like just stop talking and just be in your crappy Hallmark movies or wherever you are right now. Bob Saget. As a kid, I didn't like him. I thought he was kind of, I guess, a nerd. But as a kid, you don't really realize, oh, there's more to this person outside of a show. Which it's still sad that he passed away. He's also a really good singer, like surprisingly good, and you wouldn't think that. Whatever. Let me see what else. Okay, a big one is Roseanne. Roseanne, back in the day, was such a good show. And I guess you could technically say she was kind of like living in a rock star lifestyle. Which, I mean, it did kind of, like, rub people the wrong way. But, like, her show was popular enough where, I don't want to say it was warranted, but at least you're like, okay, I kind of get it. And she tackled, they really went there when other places weren't doing it. And, she was always about the show's always about, like, the smaller man. And controversial opinion, I don't mind the last season when I win the lottery. I thought it was just, like, fun when they were going to all these different places. Some of the episodes were, like, meh. I personally, I think the final episode, the VOD gets pulled out from you, is actually pretty good. I don't know why, I just really liked it. And then I tried to watch the revival, and it rubbed me the wrong way on, like, how much this character changed. And I know they kind of talked about it, and how, like, time changes people, and I could say technically the same thing with my own, like, mom and my parents. But it was such a stark difference. And it's not like, like with my parents or your parents, you're always there, kind of, and you get to slowly see it. With Roseanne, it was kind of like, you see this person, like, champion for, like, the small man, for, like, LGBT rights and all this stuff, and then suddenly they go from that to, like, almost the exact opposite. And it's such like what is going on here? And then what happened with, she got in trouble, and I am very happy they didn't cancel the show, because what she says, what she believes, shouldn't affect the other people on that show, and it shouldn't, like, jeopardize their work. That being said, I never really got into the Connors. It was fine. I watched some episodes, but I think I kind of, like, got to the point where it just didn't interest me, and that's okay. Right. I am going to be right back. I have to let my dog out, so just I'll be right back. Alright, sorry about that. I think we're talking about Roseanne and the Connors. Uh, you know, like I said, I really didn't watch the Connors too much. It just wasn't my cup of tea. Fun fact for those who don't know, I know I talked about it a little bit here and there. Sarah Gilbert, who played Darlene on The Connors and Roseanne. Her sister is Melissa Gilbert, who was Laura Ingalls on Little House on the Prairie. And their brother is... Oh, what is his name? I think Jonathan Gilbert? I might be remembering that wrong. And he played Willie Olson on Little House on the Prairie. So, just... fun little fact for you. Okay. I'm gonna move that back one. I'll move it too. Come on. There we go. Okay. Let's see. Okay, so another show that I used to watch, or I still do. So there's two shows like this. I like to call these shows that I really didn't realize were that good until I finally gave them a chance. Because when I saw them, they would always be on the Lifetime channel, and I was like, oh, they're probably just some like girly, I guess fluff. I don't even know how to describe it. And they were The Nanny and The Golden Girls. The Golden Girls is, to put it very lightly, who doesn't know the Golden Girls, it's a national treasure. One of the things I like to think about and just daydream about is using a time machine and just what I would do. And one of my, fantasies is I go back in time, like during like the 80s when the show was actually airing, and I go on some talk show, and they just happen to be there, and I want to like just tell them how much their show means to people, and how like still of a massive show it is, and how like beloved they are. Just as for The Nanny, I will say that show, once her and Mr. Sheffield finally get married, it doesn't have the same impact. But like Fran Fine and Fran Drescher, you can't deny like that star quality, and just no one could do it like her. Like such a fashion icon that it's just people wish. And, you know, people fail to be. I'll say that. Another really good show during that time, and I don't want to say the sequel series ruined it, but the sequel series just doesn't compare, is... Oh, why is it like that? Boy Meets World. Yeah, I mean, like, it's one of those things also where, like, we've heard... There's been some things that's come out with how, like, the cast has treated like other castmates, and, you know, from what I've heard is, like, they've apologized, and it's one of those things where it's not up to me and you to, you know, say, oh, we forgive you. It's up to the person. And, you know, like, I try to look at these shows in a more, like, I'm trying to look at the show, not what goes on behind it, because then that just opens up such a can of worms that is very hard to close. But, like, if you want a good show about that still has, like the Disney kind of, like, you know, flair to it, where it's a little cheesy, but, like, how do I say this? In today's world, like, let's say with Girl Meets World, I haven't really watched much of that, but there was a episode where one of the characters, like he might have autism, and the acting just feels so, I don't want to say phony or, like, phoned in, but, like, you take that and then you take the episode where, like, in Boy Meets World, where Topanga has to move away, and, you know, Corey and her are just, like, heartbroken. I just hit a cat. I'm sorry. And then, you know, he's, like, arguing with his parents and all this stuff, and everybody's like, oh, you need to move on, blah, or whatever. And then he opens the door in the rain, like, all the way. I think they lived in Pittsburgh, I think, and then, like, her family moved to Philadelphia or somewhere. It was not super far, but still, it was a ways. And then Topanga just is there on the doorstep, like, in the pouring rain, and it is one of those, like, you can't help but just grin ear to ear when you saw it. And there's so many good, like, you know, these people felt like real characters, and they went through real, for the most part, real stuff. But I think that's one of the main things that I find I have issue with today's kids shows, is they try to like, tackle serious-ish topics, but the show is so unserious, it just doesn't fit. Like, again, with Boy Meets World, like, there's an episode where, you know, Corey and Topanga are on their breakup, one of their breakups, and Sean has, like, a dream where they're all being chased by a killer, and it's just, like, it's him manifesting, I guess, his, like, fears, because to him, Corey and Topanga were always, like, the constant, and it seemed like this time, it you know, it's one of those things where it wasn't going to get fixed. And it works in the context of this show, because the show is grounded in reality, but a little slice of, like, fantasy and unrealistic ism, I guess you want to say, works in this context. Where instead, like shows today, it's like you have people like you have like they live in these like weird houses and stuff, and it's like it's really not believable. Let me see. Let me see. I don't know. I feel like there needs to be a tiny bit more realism in kids shows today. Okay, so here's a good example. Clarissa Explains It All. 90s show, classic opening. If you know it, you know it. That show was portrayed. She lived in a very realistic house. Um, but there's still kind of like these fun kids nods to it, where it still felt like a kids show. Like with oh, I forget the guy's name. He would like come through the window on the ladder, and I think he would always like fall or something. Yeah. Speaking of that show, another good show. It's just Sabrina the Teenage Witch, not the Netflix version, the original Melissa Joan Hart version. Um, that is just a good show. And, Aunt Hilda and Aunt Zelda are icons. That's all I really have to say about that. Alright, not too bad. Okay, I forgot about you. Hi there. I'll come back to that guy. Let's see, what other TV shows I can talk to myself about. I guess, real quick, let's just talk about Nickelodeon. As I said before, I feel like with a lot of stuff that we know about today, you kind of have to separate some things in order to I don't want to say protect yourself, but like if you really took everything like what you know now, a lot of people like their entire like just childhood experience would be completely ruined. And like I grew up in the 90s, and like especially because at the time like Cartoon Network wasn't really big until like the late 90s, when like they started getting shows like Powerpuff Girls and Johnny and all those things. So like mid and early 90s, Nickelodeon was at the top of the game. And also I think maybe Disney. I did not have Disney until I was much older. The most I got was like once in a while we would have like a free like week or weekend, and I got to watch Disney, but I never really got to. I wasn't Disney like channel kid growing up. And so like I grew up with, you know, Rocko's Modern Life, Our Real Monsters, all that. Doug, Keenan and Kel, just all those shows. And it's one of those things where it's like, I can of course, like, my heart goes out to all those victims and just went down because, like, their entire thing at the time was like it's a kids network, and the advertisement was very like there are some YouTube channels that post just like you know a full like with commercials and all like Sunday Sunday cartoons from like Nickelodeon or whatever channel like from like 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. on like May whatever 1992, and you can just watch it like you're like back in time watching everything. And it's amazing how like just full on they went with that theme, and just you really felt that like you're special. Another thing is the amount of commercials and how like these days, like let's say a show's like a show's like half an hour long, you get like each like part is maybe like 12 minutes, 10 minutes at most, and then you get all commercials the rest of it. Each commercial segment was like 3 or 4 commercials at most, and then you were back on the show. It was shocking to see the difference. uh do 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 and also like a big one I feel where like I really don't think the show's on anymore. The big one is Cosby Show. Like back in the day before all that the horrible stuff came out, he was like America's dad. That's how he's kind of like he was advertised. And that show was really groundbreaking in showing a lot of America who didn't know better just what a family can look like and what they can be, and how like successful, it doesn't matter, like anybody can be like successful, and like no one can Claire Huxtable, I mean, like what can you say about her? uh like the Cosby Show is one of my favorite shows. It introduced me to jazz. Oh my god. Okay. It introduced me to jazz. Has, I think, one of like the better series finales. Uh, and it's just like it's a shame to me that because of what he did, that show is so marred, and like there is like an asterisk next to it now. Now I don't know the whole details about. I know about him, but like I don't know who knew, or like because maybe like a lot of people behind the scenes were in on it and they knew about it, but they just kept it hush. But like I forget her name, but the one who played like Rudy, and then you have like Lisa Bonet, Malcolm Jamal Warner, Tempest Bloodstone. That might be her. I don't know if any of them are married at this moment. Well, isn't Lisa? Isn't she married to Jason Momoa? I don't know. Whatever. It's just that's if you can look past the all that, and you want just I would say give it a few watches. It nowadays it is a little more cheesy. I will say that, but I mean it's from the '80s. What isn't? my two favorite episodes is when Theo thinks he's old enough and they kind of turn the downstairs into a, like, I guess you call it like a real life simulator. Oh, hi Chris, how are you? And then that episode, and then they kind of, Theo gets his, uh, like he kind of gets, like, I guess taught a lesson is the best word. And the other one is where Vanessa and her friends go to Baltimore and they try to hide it, but then they get really screwed over. That's good. How was I hope work and traffic was okay. And Cliff has to go pick them up. And just for like the last 5 minutes of this show, Claire is just screaming at Vanessa, and it's one of the best scenes ever. It's so good. I have been, so Chris, I've been talking to myself just about music and TV shows. And I have learned that I like to just talk to myself. So I might be going insane. Wow, there's a lot of lightning this time. But, I would watch other shows here and there, but I think those were like the big ones. Now, as a kid, some kids are, you're always like some kind of kid when when you're a kid, and it kind of depends on like what you like. And like like for instance, when I was a baby, I was a ride or die Barney kid. I thought he was God. One time I went to a Halloween like block party, and there was somebody in like a Barney mascot. I wouldn't leave him alone, and then eventually he went to take a break, and I found Barney's head, and I took it, and I was like 3 or 4 years old. I just took it, and I was like, well, this is mine now. But when I got a little bit older, my obsession was Power Rangers. Everything about it, just all of it. You bet my mom had like 20 plus VHSs of just recorded Power Ranger stuff from all different seasons, everything. Um, I think my favorite Ranger was okay. So my favorite Ranger, and I'm going off Mighty Morphin right now, was Trini, the Yellow Ranger. I thought she was so pretty. Rest in peace. How do you say her? I don't know how you say her name. I'm sorry. Or I probably do. I just right now I'm butchering it. But she was my favorite. And then my favorite episodes were, there was one where Billy had to fight this like opera masked like person in like some dimension, and I loved how that monster looked. So I would like draw her in school, and at this point in time, because like Mighty Morphin came out like when I was just like a baby, so I experienced that show later through reruns. I think that was airing at the same time as In Space, like the reruns for that. Um, oh, her name, Madame Woe was her name. Um, that looks fine. And I just loved how she looked. And I made a. Oh, how am I going to do this? I used to try to draw her, like her face, because it was very easy. Her face was just like a white face with like blue, like just like full blue eyes, red lips, and like a little like gem on her forehead. Like something pretty easy, like a kid can draw. And my teacher wrote to my parents, and she was like, "You need to keep an eye out on your son." Like, pretty much saying that like I might turn into a school shooter one day because I was drawing that. The joys of going to private school. But there was that episode, and then my other favorite episode was it aired. I think it aired on like a special night for some reason, and it had to be a rerun. It was still a rerun. I know that, but me and my parents, we went to Lancaster that day. I went to Dutch Wonderland with my dad, and my mom just went shopping at all the Amish places with a friend, or I think her sister. And I'm gonna have to really change this. This isn't gonna work. It's gonna go all the way down there. Actually, you're gonna have a long way to walk, buddy. It was the episode. We got home, and it was like super late. It was like 11, but I wanted to watch it so badly. It's the episode where Kimberly gets teleported to the Wild West, and then you have like the Wild West Rangers, and it was just like I don't know, seeing like the Power Rangers outfits with spurs and tassels just was cool to me for some reason. I don't know why. Let me see. My favorite. I want to say. I don't want to say iteration, but. People say. My Morphin Power UC song is. It's good. It's. I don't even say good. It's great. However, to me, my favorite opening is the Zeo opening. Like, just the opening, how, like, the light, like, how they're in the darkness, and just, oh my god, it's so good. Um, Turbo's opening is really good, too. Uh, Back, a few years ago when they did the Twitch watches, and I finally got to, like, really watch the old, like, Turbo and Zeo, I was like, my Morphin holds up, but with those, it didn't hold up as well. I will say, though, the ending of Turbo is pretty good. They really just, how you, they really just got, like, effed over. And then that goes into, like, in space, and I think a lot of people can agree in space is like the best season of Power Rangers out there. Um, I did not, I did not care for Lost Galaxy. It was too. How do I want to say this? I guess I don't care for a super fantasy, and it was too much of that for me. Um, I did enjoy Lightspeed. I had the PS1 game, super fun game. There was one point in the opening of Lightspeed Rescue where one of the Zords was like punching at the screen, and for some reason that scared me as a kid. And then I think what came after that? What did come after? I think Time Force came after that. I kind of watched Time Force, but like it was at that point I started getting too old for it, and I tried watching a little bit of. I think Mystic Force was after that, and I kind of dropped it afterwards. Um, and then eventually I discovered that Power Rangers is a remake of a Japanese show, and I started kind of exploring that, and I watched like all the openings, and it's kind of amazing. I saw like all the like I kind of wish eventually Power Rangers will like kind of go back and like in a way redo those old Super Sentai. That's what Japanese one is called, Super Sentai. Like the old versions of that, because like that's been going on since the 70s, and we didn't get Power Rangers until the 90s. Um, so there's so much, and even then it's like they only do one. It's one season per like group. So with us, we had like 3 seasons of Mighty Morphin, and because of that, we missed like 2 seasons of Super Sentai. But I think like eventually they kind of like started doing the same thing, where it's like one season each. Um, so I finally, and being in the community I am, I know about like Doggy Kruger and Anubis Kruger and their popularity. There's also like a bird character that no one's ever really talks about, but I think it's see I don't want to say it because I know I'm gonna butcher it. Q Ranger, KYU, like no Ranger, Super Sentai Q. I don't know that show. Like for some reason that kind of intrigued me, and I started watching that one. And there's a character named Shu, who I just love to the point where I like kind of made my own fan character of him. And the only difference was like in the show his name's like Shuran Po, like Po, or like P-O. My character was Shuran Bo, where it's a B, and my version was just a lot more, I guess, muscular. Um, Eventually, I kind of stopped using him because while I liked him, he wasn't. It wasn't like my character. But I love that show, and right now, Power Rangers is doing that season technically, but they changed so much of it that it's not my show at all. And like I am, does that one? I think it does. I am insulted. Like it's not. Like, I don't even. I don't know why. What's the point of even trying to say it's the same thing? It's not. um, Fun fact. And as a fun fact, I'm saying it's very depressing. I was not kind to my toys as a kid. I would play if I wanted to, they were going in the bathtub with me. It was these toys were going to be used. Um, I had so many Power Ranger toys that most likely I probably could have made. I want to say like if I really took care of them, I probably could have made like $10,000. But like I said, I was very careless with them, and I did not take care of them, and they were just trash. I still have some of them. One of my greatest regrets is I let my mom sell. I had the command center with all the parts and everything. I just let my mom sell that. I don't know why. I think I got like $10 from it from a yard sale, and I'm like, I probably could have went to like some store and gotten like 20 or $30 for that. But what can you do? I also had a ton of morphers. I had like two of the I think I still have them somewhere. Of the original like My Morphin Power morphers. I have Time Force. I also have like the Time Force like saber sword, which I think was the coolest one out of all of them. Um, I had Lost Galaxy at its morpher and its sword, where you could change the little like tip to the color that you wanted. I just had a ton. My favorite toys were the ones where you could like click on the belt and their heads would flip. I had those. Oh goodness, that looks weird. Okay. I had the entire Zeo Zord where you had like the smaller Zords, you can like combine them. I thought that was neat. And just like a whole bunch. My mom found like these like two giant bins of Power Ranger toys that whoever like, she got them for like $20, and those people must have been like over like $1,000 worth of toys in there, because it wasn't all like there's some like looking back there was some clear like Super Sentai toys in there. And now that I think about it, I think there was a action figure from the very first season of Super Sentai in there. And if I might still have that. If I do, I'm gonna try to look for it because I'm pretty sure the thing it was rubber, so it might just be complete garbage now. But if it's still in any kind of condition, um, I might try to preserve it because that's you probably can't find that stuff anymore. Okay, so I think I feel bad for that guy. He has to walk all the way down there. But oh well. But okay, so the roads are done. Only thing I'm not super happy about is right. Where is it? Is it here? No. Where is it? Oh, right here. Because of how close these things are. I guess I could move that over there, but I don't really want to do that. Do. I just love how this looks. Probably wants to like blow up this entire side of the mountain and just make it glass so you can just look into that abyss constantly. Just looking around. Ooh. How nice. Okay. Alright, so I think... Okay, so I think I talked... I guess we can talk about Cartoon Network for a tiny bit. I was never a massive Cartoon Network fan. I liked some of the shows, but it just wasn't my go-to, like, excited, like, oh look, Emerald. Like, I'm so, like, happy to watch this kind of thing. That being said, you know, I watched Johnny Bravo, I watched, Cow and Chicken, what else was there? Cold. I watched, Powerpuff Girls, which, I mean, like, on paper you think that's, like, a really girly show, but it was really, really good. Like, go back and watch the episode where they race home, and basically in doing so, went to, like, alternate reality where him was one of the best villains. So much better than Mojo Jojo, I think. You know, I might do that Village 2 eventually and just make like a giant bridge connecting them. I think that'll be kind of neat. But there's that. My two favorite shows from Cartoon Network was Ed, Edd n Eddy, which to this day I think has one of the best, like, series finales of all time, for especially cartoons. The Ed and Eddie Big Picture Show, it is such like, it is so good. Um, like it's one of those shows where a part of me, I would love to see it redone and brought back, but I know in today's world that show would not be able to exist, and it would be garbage. Um, Another show that I absolutely love was Kids Next Door. Um, Again, I Kids Next Door, I think, is on par with series finales with Ed and Eddie. Um, you find out, like, number one's like dad is like number zero, and it's so action packed, and there's so much about it. Um, so for Ed and Eddie, my favorite episode is when they turn. I think it was um, it wasn't Jimmy. What was his name? The I remember, I know Plank's name. I just don't know his friend Johnny. I think it was Johnny's house, and they turned it into. Okay, I have two episodes. The Eds turn it into like a spa, and at the end, Ed, who is tied to the support beam, just breaks it off, and the entire house crumbles. And then my other episode, which I think is my favorite, is when they completely just break reality in all sense of the word. As for Kids Next Door, I don't. I want to say my favorite episode is probably the one that is the one of the most important, and it really could have started something amazing, but it just never did. When they were in school, and number one was doing his book report, or like his like oral book report, and he was talking about how goodness, how this is how things came to be. Um, Give me a second. Do. There we go. Okay. And like near the end, he gets more and more frantic, and he talks about like how it was always kids in charge, and they created like adults, and then the adults kind of took over, and like you always thought the show was kind of about like kids, just like, being kids and like fantasy and stuff, but you kind of learn throughout the show there's a lot more to it than that. Um, and that was like the very first hint of it, and then you have the movie, and then you have like eventually, like the final episode, which I think is one of is the final episode because you have like the final movie and you have like the final episode. They're kind of like different, but also, wait, how I guess the movie kind of starts wrapping things up, and then the final episode wraps it up. And the final episode is like it's live action, where they bring like the kids now adults, and they restore their memories. Numbers 2, 3, 4, and 5, and you see like 2 and 5 got married, 3 and 4 got, which writing on the wall, you knew that, and good for them. I like those pairings, and they just talk about their time as a Candy operative, and then like they talk about how number one, well they didn't really talk about it. It's in one of the episodes. He gets chosen to be a part of something called the Galactic Kids Next Door. And if you go online, they wanted to do a sequel series about that. and it's like there's like a little short where it shows Lizzie, number one's girlfriend, who I'll be honest was super annoying and like just clingy, just like she had like that stereotypical girlfriend vibe to her. She was she's like a galactic K&D member, and she's an alien, and it was supposed to be like this really like amazing kind of thing. And I'm kind of surprised. They try to use Kickstarter for it, but it just never went. It never like got what it needed. And to just say, I'm surprised with just what is on air now, that like Netflix or no one ever picked it up, because I feel like that would have been a giant smash. But what can you do? So I still not as much, but I have very very vivid dreams where like I can tell you about a dream I had like 13 years ago in pretty good detail. I had one time I had a dream where I was a Kids Next Door operative, and like I woke up. It was Saturday morning in my house, and I went downstairs. No one was home, and for some reason I just went into the garage, and my garage was like just full on command center with kids just working and like being kids next door. And I dreamt I went on two missions. One was I had to rescue a lion cub, and when I found it, suddenly it just turned into like a quick time event, and I had to somehow like press buttons while watching myself save this lion cub from seemingly nothing. And then the other one was we went to like a junkyard and we had to like just fight these bad guys, and I was actually had like the 2x4 weapons, and that was pretty badass. I also dreamt one time I was a Power Ranger. Um, I was the Red Ranger, and that was pretty cool. But think, I guess if I want to get super technical, I also, you know, um, Avatar: The Last Airbender. That's a good show. I do have my gripes about that show, and it's not what you think. It's more me complaining about the fact that it isn't long enough. And I wish some of the stuff, like I know we have like the live action remake, which it's there. It's just something. Um, I would love them to remake the show and just add more to it. Like, so for example, we have the final 4 episodes, which is the like the Sozin's Comet, like I guess saga you can call it. Those 4 episodes alone could have been stretched to that twice as many, honestly. Like, I would love to see an entire episode where it's just Zuko and Katara versus Azula, and them just like destroying the palace, and just half of it is like Zuko versus Azula, the other half where it's like them just fighting, and then the other half is Katara versus Azula, and it's almost like a survival horror where at that moment, even though I think Katara could 100% take on Azula because of the comet, Katara is just outmatched. Um, I also think if I could go back in time and if I was like the show, I would have made more adult enemies because we finally get to see the White Lotus. Oh yeah, but there's gonna be a bunch of spoilers here. We finally get to see the White Lotus together and in action, and they take back like Ba Sing Se, and it's amazing to see, but it feels very, I guess, like anticlimactic with how like powerful you have been like led to believe these people are, and I kind of wish there was like an opposing like force. Like I know like late in Legend of Korra we have the Red Lotus, but I kind of wish we had like something like that there too, so we could see um, like Iroh and like to really show off their skills and because to me I think especially then besides Avatar I think Iroh is the strongest bender. I know there's a lot of discourse and debates online if he could fight Ozai, and I am under the very strict belief that I think Iroh could 100% wipe the floor with Ozai. Um, Ozai was trained in the palace. He has technical skills, sure. Iroh has technical skills and he also has street skills. He has he embraced other cultures and he learned from them. Um, there is like Ozai is feared because of his title, that he let's be honest, it was his birthright. Um, did I say I think it's Ozai, right? Ozai, whatever. Iroh earned the title Dragon of the West. He earned his reputation, his fear, um, and even then he like it's one of the things where like you don't want to admit because you just love Iroh. Yes, he's a war criminal. Um, he is. You can't sit here and deny that. But it's clear like he tried to fix that. He tried to mend his rights and wrongs, which is why Zuko ended up how he did. That being said, I know in the comics, Azula kind of has a redemption. Uh, I I don't think not all we don't need a redemption for everybody, honestly. Um, we don't need backstories for everybody. Like I think like the Maleficent and Cruella movie they're very pointless to me. Um, but yeah, something else I would have loved to have seen in Avatar: Last Airbender was we have Avatar, who is the master of everybody of everything, but we really don't have a way to, I guess, acknowledge who is the undisputed master of each element. And I feel like something in the same vein as like with One Piece you have like Awakenings. I think something in the same vein as that would make it make sense. Like, for instance, with with firebending, they should have made it where, like, if if you're recognized as, if you awaken it, you can use lightning a lot easier, or like your fire turns a different color, or just something to mark just how strong you are. I also, and this is the furry in me talking, I think they could have had different forms where, like, okay, like, look at Iroh again. I love that, he's my favorite character, so why not? I would have loved to see it where, like, I guess, like, dragon deities come to him one day and they're like, hey, you know we want you to represent us, or some blah blah blah, context, and Iroh kind of turns into this, like, anthropomorphic, like, just badass looking, like, Eastern dragon, like, grandpa dude, and his firebending is always kind of on the same level as, like, if the comet was there. And you think, oh, that's just broken, but he has to learn how to control that and still use it while combating people and fighting, but not burning down an entire forest. And there's ways around it too. There's different things you can do with that. And then, like, yeah, just like stuff like that. I would love to just expand that universe in a way that I don't think people think about. That being said, I I watched the first season of Korra, and then it was on, like, I don't know why they did that, because you know Last Airbender was such a popular show. They aired the first season of Korra, like, at like 8 a.m. on Saturday morning. And it was fine. I think it was such, like, it was kind of like a culture shock to me that they went from, like, such, like, I guess old school to, like, there's, like, now cars and stuff. And then they kind of just, like, it stopped. And even today, I have a really bad habit of, if a show, like, if they drastically move a time slot, unless I am obsessed with a show, I will drop it. And they kind of did that with Korra. And I watched, like I said, I watched the first season. I just didn't really keep up with it. That being said, I have seen, like, different stuff here and there. I've seen clips. I will say, the fight scenes are definitely a lot better in Korra. But at the end of the day, it just, I wouldn't, I did just didn't connect with the characters as much. Like, if you wanted to have a fight between both team avatars, the core team definitely has the combative skill and strength, but I feel like the quote unquote gang, that's GAANG for Ang, they definitely have, like, the smarts and the cohesiveness and, like, the working together down a lot better. So it's like, it's take your pick. Uh, Also, I don't like the fact that people just ignore Suki. She was a part of Team Avatar, even though she was only a part of it for like 2 episodes. She is still part of it. Do not forget about her. If I could have it my way, I would love to see, like, maybe like a movie or like a mini series of maybe like, I don't know, Iroh when he was young, or just something different. I know it's supposed. I keep hearing about all this stuff we're supposed to be seeing, but it's like, you know, I've heard about us getting like a series of like, or like a movie of Aang and all of them when they're older. Like that's been talked about for years. I don't. I want something. I want something a little bit different. Um. Do do do. Alright. I think I'm gonna get done this roof, and then I'm gonna call it. Because I still need to make food, and I should have made it earlier because I'm gonna have something pretty heavy, and that's not good before bed. Or, I'm not gonna do it for a little bit, but still. Let's see, real quick. What can I talk about? Okay, I know I touched on it before. So, the big anime 3, my feelings toward them is, first place is One Piece. I absolutely adore One Piece. Um, I like the series Naruto, and there's little caveats there. Bleach, I understand it's popular, it's just not for me. If you like it, that's fine. I'm not gonna be like, oh, it's horrible, it's garbage. It's not for me. Oh, I got that done pretty fast. I'll just finish what I'm saying. I'll go for a little bit longer, I guess. Um, so I started really watching Naruto when it was Naruto Shippuden, and it was on Disney XD of all places. And I'll give them credit. They weren't that bad with censorship. It wasn't perfect, but I feel like they could have done a lot worse. So, good for them. And if I remember correctly, I think Disney XD got. I know they did the Hadan fight. I think they got to right afterwards because I remember the last episode I saw was. This is yes. They were examining Hadan's body. Oh, not. Oh God, what's his name? The guy who killed the guy who was with Hadan. They were at the Leaf Village. The one that Naruto killed. I think they got that far in the dub. Oops. And then later, which by the way, first Shippuden Silhouette, it's one of the top, like one of the best openings of all time. It's so good. I watched the Pain Invasion arc. I definitely think that's probably like the most memorable arc in the entire series. Later, I did actually try to watch Naruto, like the original, and this was after Shippuden, obviously, what I watched there. And uh, I'm gonna be controversial, yet brave. I think the original Naruto is garbage. I did not like it. I thought it was annoying. It was like just no. Um, and then with Baruto, I watched it like the small arc where they kind of went back in time, but it just I don't hate Baruto. It just doesn't grab me the way like the other ones did. That being said, I don't know how other people feel about it. I love the art style in the manga that they kind of changed to, and I don't know how to explain. I guess the best way to describe it is like if you ever seen or like looked at like the art style of like Nana or maybe like Fruits Baskets, like the old version, it kind of reminds me of that. And I just thought it had a very unique style to it. I like that. Um, but like Baruto just does it didn't capture me. That being said, I think in terms of villains, like with One Piece, you have like a new group villain. You have overarching villains, but you know it's kind of with like Naruto, you have what it, I think it's you have like the Akatsuki, and you have I think it's called Code. And I think their villain groups are pretty interesting. Uh, um, but uh, oof, okay. Oh, I didn't realize I was going. I went over what I wanted. No, I'm still fine. Um, I'll do up there so I don't forget about it. I want to say probably my favorite arc in Shippuden is probably the first one. Um, I am not a like Sakura in enjoy. Like she's, I think the hate is not fully warranted. Um, but her fight against Sasori with Lady Chio is so good, especially when they fight like the 10 versus like I think like 100 or like 1,000 puppets, and you see just like the growth between like Naruto, like the show Naruto and Shippuden, and it's so good. Um, oops, right there. Let me see what else. Do 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 do. I would. I want to start talking about One Piece, but I will be here for another like 3 hours, so I'm not going to. Um, short animes. So when I was still like a teenager for a while, I discovered we had the Funimation channel, and that is when I really I've watched anime before, but when you're a kid, you don't understand what anime is. This is when I discovered what anime was, um, and I watched that's where I first watched Oran High School Host Club, um, Black Cat, which I feel like they should remake that. Honestly, it's a good enough show. It warrants it. Um, Black Cat. What is it? What else? I'm gonna butcher this name. Nabari no Yor. That's a pretty good show. School Days. And then, I also watched, Fullmetal Alchemist, Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood. I would not mind it if they remade Fullmetal Alchemist with today's technology, and they kind of combined the original and Brotherhood. Because with the original, they really followed the beginning to a T, but they didn't have, the ending wasn't made, so they kind of had to make their own ending. And then with Brotherhood, they more or less kind of fast forward, or they kind of skipped a lot of the beginning because the original series covered it. And to me, I'm kind of just like, well, why not, like, make like a sequel series where it's like you get both and you get the full experience. With like how popular that anime is, I think they could do that and it would be fine. And then, I guess you wanna, speaking about anime, you always have the like the sub versus dub, and for me it really depends. For Naruto, I can do both. If it's sub or dub, I don't mind. I think they both are good. Yu-Gi-Oh! And Fullmetal Alchemist, I prefer the dub. Like, to me, if Jerry Wheeler from Yu-Gi-Oh! Is in Brooklyn, this is English dub, by the way. If he is in Brooklyn, like, what's the point? There's why? Why even bother? One Piece, I don't want to sound rude. I hate the dub. All the voices just do not sound like they go with the characters. I think it's poo-poo garbage. It is not good. And you could be like, oh, that's not nice. I don't really care. It's not good. Also, I have kind of mixed feelings about the remake. Like, I'm not excited for it, but also, I mean, I think I heard, like, oh, it's gonna be this long and whatever. My question is, what's gonna happen if, like, I don't know when a remake's gonna start, but, like, what happens if, like, let's say a remake starts next year and they catch up to the show, like the actual, like, the Toei animation version? Are they just going to, like, stop, or are they gonna, like, do filler? Like, how is that going to work? I feel, and then, it's gonna be, to me, I feel like they should have waited until the other one actually ended. They're just gonna be compared so much. I'm gonna have to do that later. To each other, and then, like, the new voice actors are gonna be heavily compared to the old ones, and it's kind of like, are you, like, is this fair? Like, you know what I mean? I don't know. do... Oops. Oh, come on. I'll just finish the floor. Okay, so real quick. I did not watch... I never really watched One Piece from the beginning. I started, I want to say, near the start of the middle of Dressrosa. And at first I thought it was okay. Like, as a kid, I always had these qualms about shows, and the smallest thing would really turn me off to a show. For kids, when they had One Piece, I hated how Usopp looked. I hated his nose. I hated his lips. And that was enough for me to be like, this show is garbage. Just that. For Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z, that thing for me was Vegeta's forehead. It was too big, and that was enough for me to call the show garbage. Lo and behold, I do like Dragon Ball. More super than anything else. But my second other, he watches One Piece all the time, and what really sold the deal for me was when we got Law's backstory. And it was like it still did halfway when it was Corazon like basically apologizing to Law, and he thinks Law's sleeping. He's like saying he's sorry that he's gone through so much. And then I don't want to spoil it, but like at the end of Law's flashback, and the Corazon's effect, like his devil fruit wears off on Law, and it just ends with the regular to be continued, and it's like you just hear Law's like screams, and it was like, oh, okay, this show got me. But yeah. And to this day, I want to say probably my favorite episode is 10:15. Everything about that episode is just a masterpiece. But alright, that's all for tonight. I'm surprised that, I don't know how, I hope that I sounded somewhat okay. I'm surprised how well this ran. I tried, I think I said before, I tried Java Edition earlier, but it was just chugging. So now I did Bedrock, which runs a lot better. Just for fun fact, this is my skin for Java, Bedrock. Yeah, I'm supposed to have wings, but I took them off because it seemed a little much. Okay. I might be on tomorrow. Tomorrow's Saturday, and I mean, if anybody's watching it now, no one's going to be watching it tomorrow. So I'll just, talk to myself about One Piece more. Why not? But I want to thank all of you for coming, or if you're watching the VOD on YouTube, thank you. Why? Why do that to yourself? And I will see you all tomorrow. All right, have a good night.